So there are a couple of questions I'm always being asked about current accounts. First of all, can I have more than one current account? And then secondly, should I have more than one current account? The answer to that is yes, you can and you should. So in this video, I want to take you through some of the reasons why I think it's really important you just don't stick to one single current account that you've had for years and years and years, or you've just switched recently, whatever it is, why I think you should have 2, 3, 4, maybe even more current accounts sitting there in your wallet for all sorts of different eventualities. My name's Andy Webb. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. If this sounds interesting, if you like the idea of this and you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button and that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any further videos I do. And of course, if you want more information about everything I speak about, you can check out the blog becleverwithyourcash.com. Right, let's get into it. Let's explain my top 8 reasons why you should have more than one current account. Number 1, what if something goes wrong with your current account? Now, we've seen this in the past. In years gone by, there was that nightmare when TSB was migrating its data across from one system to another and all their accounts just shut down. You couldn't access your money at all. And that was a big problem for lots of people. They couldn't get their salary. They couldn't pay out for important things, bills, rent, whatever it might be. It was a huge nightmare. And we've also seen other kind of problems come along in different ways. If it's not the whole IT system going on, it's something connected to them, the payment processor, particularly with a lot of the kind of digital fintech banks which don't have their own systems in place and they piggyback on someone else. When that's gone under, they can't make any payments. So I think absolutely number 1 reason for you not to have just a single current account, why you want to have a second one, is to balance out things, to kind of hedge your bets in case something goes wrong with one of those accounts. So absolutely make sure you have got a second account at a different institution, one that's not connected to them at all, and have some money in there. So if something does go wrong for a day or 2 days, hopefully no longer than that, but at least you've got some access to some money, a bit of cash that will kind of tide you over until you can get back into the rest of your money in your main bank account. So that's number 1 reason, really, really, really vital. Now, the second reason it's worth having more than one account is to help your savings, boost your savings. Now, when I was younger, I used to have a single current account and all my money was in there. My wages would come in, my savings would sit there, my expenses would go out. It was just one big hodgepodge of money. So that meant I didn't really know what I needed for today and this week and this month and what was there for whatever it was I was saving for. Probably going back to my early 20s, mid 20s, it was probably some kind of traveling experience or a gig or festivals, whatever it might be. They're the things that my money went towards back then. But I had no idea. So I didn't really understand how much money I had available for those things. So the best thing you can do, absolutely, I think, is to move your money into a separate account. Now, for lots of people, you might think, actually, well, that would be a separate savings account or an ISA or something like that, perhaps even investments. And that is fine. Yes, absolutely, of course, you can do that. But there is obviously a huge advantage of having it in a current account. And that's because that is where you are kind of get the highest saving rates. Has been for a good few years, although those rates aren't fantastic. They're not very good really right now. They're still a lot better than you'll get elsewhere. And yes, there are caps. You'll only be able to save maybe on the first grand, or maybe it's a connected regular saver that you can only get via a current account where you can put in 250, 300, 400 pounds every month. Yes, it's not perfect, but it is going to be where you'll get the best rates. Now, I have got a completely separate video looking at the best savings accounts, so make sure you do check that out. I'll link to that also in the notes below so you can click through and watch that one after this video. But a current account right now is the best place for your savings for those 2 reasons. You'll get the highest rate and it will be separate from your everyday spending. You can also, if you want to, look a little bit sort of further for this account, potentially something like Starling or Monzo, where I have these kind of spaces and pots which help you, again, separate out your savings accounts from your normal day-to-day spending. You might think, well, if I've got that, why do I need a separate account? But I'll go back to that first point that I mentioned just now. You want to have something in a separate account for if something goes wrong. And if your savings are in that second account, that emergency account, so to speak, then you've got access to that cash. It's the money that's earning interest that you can draw upon if for some reason you can't access your main account. And then when things go back to normal, you can top up those savings once again. Now, another big reason to have an additional account is if you are in a relationship, married, just in a long-term relationship, whatever it might be, civil partnership. But if you are living with someone and you are sharing a lot of the expenses, particularly things like the rent or the mortgage or the bills that are coming out every day, the groceries, whatever it might be, then a joint account can be really, really, really handy way to make sure that you are both across your expenses. But what I wouldn't do is just have a joint account. I know some couples, it's like, right, all our money in one pot and that's how we share it around, that's how we spend it. which, there are some pros to that, but there are also a number of cons to it. I would make sure you have your own money in your own account, and those shared expenses, then they come out of that shared joint account. Again, that's another reason to have an additional account. I have got another video you might want to check out looking at the pros and cons of joint accounts, so do check that out if that is of interest. Now, number 4, you might want to add some extra accounts to your portfolio where you can make some money. There are a number of different ways you can do this. You can get cash back on your bills, which actually might mean it's a good one to think about for that joint account. That's the Santander 123 Lite account. You might be able to get freebies such as cinema tickets or movie rentals or magazines. Not a huge amount of use during lockdown, but when things go back to normal, they can be great money savers, getting you 1 or 2 tickets to see a film every single month. Or you might even be able to get actually a cash payment paid into your account. And that could be worth anywhere between sort of 30 and 60 quid a year. Now, a lot of these do come with fees, and a lot of them have some hoops you have to jump through in order to get those rewards. So you want to make sure you're familiar with all those terms and conditions and make sure you are actually going to be able to fulfill those so you get those benefits as they come through. But that could be a reason to have an extra 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, you potentially could have half a dozen of these extra accounts, bring in a little bit of money every single month, potentially a couple of hundred quid over the year if you do maximize them all across the different options that are out there. And that brings me on to the 5th type of account that I think it's worth looking at. And this is a switching account. This is an account that you get just to switch it. You don't use it for anything else. You open it up, or maybe it's an existing account that you've got that you don't want to use anymore because you replaced it with a bit different account which serves your needs better. Have this account. When an offer comes in, £100 here, 125 quid there, maybe some free wine, who knows what it might be. You switch it. Switch the account, get that freebie. Again, you might have to pay in a certain amount of money, have some direct debit set up, whatever it might be. Get that freebie, and once you've got it, switch it again. And then switch it again, and then switch. As long as there's an offer available at a bank you don't have an account with, you can keep getting this free money. Well worth having a separate account just for that. Because if you've only got 1 or 2 accounts, and one's your everyday banking account that you want to use and you're familiar with it and you like it, you're kind of comfortable using it day to day, and the other one is maybe one of the ones which is giving you some kind of benefit, like a reward or cash back, or it's the one which is earning you interest. Well, you don't really want to switch either of those to get a bonus. So you may as well have, that extra account there ready to move over again and again and again. Now, another reason to look at having more than one bank account is to make sure that one of them gives you fee-free spending overseas. Now, there are a couple of these that will do that. Starling, Monzo, and Virgin Money are the main ones. And there are obviously some credit cards as well, which are great for this purpose as well. But if you're allowed to go abroad, which, okay, we're not right now, but when we can go overseas, this is a great addition to have, in your wallet that you can just spend money and not pay any charges either at the till or at a cash machine. Really great. And these are easy ones to have. You can transfer money over to them if you want. Keep them completely separate, not even use them the rest of the year. But when you go abroad, transfer some cash over from your main account, almost use it as if it's a prepaid card and save yourself some money. Now, there are 2 more things to talk about, 2 more reasons why I think it's worth having more than one bank account. The first one of these is access to a local branch. Now, I know less and less we use physical branches now. You might be thinking, when did I even last go in to an actual bank to do any of my banking? Most of our stuff now is done on apps or online, right? I understand that, but I always think it's a good idea to have a branch near you that you can go to if you actually the situation arises. Now, a good few years ago now, because probably 4 or 5 years ago, but I had someone clone my card and there was fraudulent activity going on it. So I was able to go into Halifax and talk to someone and actually get it sorted there and then. Yes, you can phone up. Yes, you can do a lot of this stuff online, but I think it's nice to have at least one of those accounts available to you nearby. And going back to my first point about what happens if technology goes wrong, well, if you can still go into a branch and you've got some money in that account, maybe then you can access that cash no matter what's going on with the wider technology. Now, of course, that is a problem because so many bank branches are closing down. There are fewer and fewer of these out there, but it may well be that just one of those accounts, if you're having multiple accounts, is one near you. And again, it doesn't have to be one of your main everyday branches. It could just be the one where you keep some spare cash or whatever it might be. But I think it's worth thinking about. And the final one, the other reason to have a kind of a separate bank account as well, is to have one that's going to help you with your day-to-day spending. A lot of the things I've spoken about right now, a lot of those different features have great benefits to earn you money, whatever it might be, yeah? But sometimes you just want something, an account that's going to be the best one for you in helping you manage your money. And a lot of time that's going to come down to how good the app is. So I would think about getting one where it's really easy for you to make payments to other people, where it's really easy to track your spending. You know, the extra features that can come into play so you can see exactly how much you spent on this type of transaction, how much on that type of transaction. Again, we're talking about the challenger banks here, mainly your Starling and your Monzo. But I think these are great ones to think about in addition to another account. So it might be that you've got this existing account, the one you want to keep, you're familiar with it, you're not keen to change it so much. But then you transfer your spending money to a separate account. So we talked about transferring your savings to a separate account. Transfer your spending money as well. And again, it's really going to help you budget by having a separate account and a separate debit card and separate sort code that you use just the things you're going to buy. Again, really, really helping you keep on track and not spend more than you have. So there you go, 8 different reasons why I think you should have more than one bank account. As promised, I'm going to give you now all the ones I think the most important accounts to have, the top ones to have. Now, you could have a huge number of them. I had a quick check before filming this video, exactly how many that I've got. And I have got, okay, this is far too many, okay? But remember, my job is to talk about money, talk about banking all the time, which one's the best one, trying out the different options, trying out the different apps so I can share with you which one's the best. And obviously a lot of the time I'm chasing different promotions. Some of those might have been and gone and I've still got some legacy accounts, but I have got nationwide 2 accounts with Starling, one of them is personal, one of them is business, 1 with Monzo, 3 with TSB, which are all pretty much dormant now because they don't offer me anything, 1 with Virgin Money, 1 with Lloyds, 1 with Halifax, 1 with Barclays, 1 with NatWest, 1 with First Direct, 1 with Metro, 1 with Monese, and 1 with TransferWise, which is also a business one. That's 16 different accounts, right? That's far too many, okay? I could probably get rid of a huge number of those now. 4 or 5 of them, I wouldn't need them at all, wouldn't be getting any benefit from them by getting rid of them now. It would make no difference. But the rest of them, they are giving something for me, doing something for me. And you might notice, I don't have the Santander 123 Lite to get cash back on my bills. I keep meaning to sort of get that. I'm waiting for referral offers. I don't think they'll happen. So I probably will look at opening up one of those shortly to get money back on my bills. But you don't need that many. I think, I'll show you what, I think you should have at the very least 2 accounts, but ideally 3 accounts. Now the first one, the one I mentioned last of all on that list, is that one for everyday banking, where whoever you're most comfortable with using, the one where you can do your spending and sending money and getting payments in, the one that you are very, very comfortable with. It could be one you've had for a long time if you like it, or you could move for one which gives you better things. For me, has been nationwide for a long, long time, but I'm in the process of moving that day-to-day banking stuff over to Starling Bank. So that will be my number 1 bank, the one that I use day in, day out, although realistically it's more just to pay bills and cashback credit cards when they come through rather than regular transactions. But that's going to be my number 1 account. You find the one that is best for you. So the next account is the one that I think you should be using for your savings. As mentioned before, keep them separate from your normal everyday banking and get the highest interest rate that you possibly can. At the time of recording this, that's probably going to be the Virgin Money current account, which offers 2.02% savings on the first £1,000 that you have in that account. Again, not a huge amount, but it's better than you'll get everywhere else. And it makes it also that perfect backup account. If something goes wrong, you've got a grand saved up, ready to access to help you get through a couple of days before your main account is back online. Fingers crossed that won't happen, but it makes sense to have it available to you. Now, the next one that I would look at, and if you only want to have a small number of accounts, this would be the last one. This is the top 3 type of account that I would go for. And this is the account which you can switch and keep switching. As I mentioned before, it makes sense just to have one of these that's there that you don't really use, but you can rake in that extra free cash when those offers are available. Right now, I would suggest looking at the TSB Spend and Save account, because if you go via the cashback site Quidco, you can get up to 80 quid in cashback just for opening the account. Meet a few terms and conditions. You've got to pay in a certain amount of money and use the debit card a few times. But generally do that for about 3 months. You get that cashback paid to your Quidco account, and then you will have that account. It's just dead to spend as you wish. And switch and switch and switch. Now, the accounts I've mentioned just now, obviously they can come and go, and they do. Offers do change regularly. So make sure you check out every single month. At the start of the month, I do an update on the best bank accounts and what's available, what the promos are. Hit subscribe and that notification bell so you don't miss them. But I'll also link to it up here and below so you can click through to watch the latest one. So that's it. 3 accounts only. That's where you want to be going. If you're happy to have more, and there are things you need to think about, and I will do another video later on looking at how to manage multiple current accounts, but then you want to be looking at, I think, those reward accounts. Now, the top ones I would suggest are the Santander 123 Lite to get cash back on your bills. And probably right now, the Halifax Rewards, where you can get £5 back every single month, so 60 quid a year. In fact, those two accounts combined are probably worth £100 over a 12-month period, potentially even more if you are paying too much, more than you need to, on your normal everyday household bills. But if you've got those down to a decent price, you're looking at about 30, 40 quid on those. There are many more you can look at to get much more money on top of that. Again, it does start to get slightly more complicated. But I think if you've got those 5 accounts, the everyday banking account, the savings account, the switching account, the cashback account, and the rewards account, that's a really good starting place to be. And as long as one of them is at a bank where you can spend fee-free overseas, that has a branch near you, and potentially is a joint account, then you've also covered some of those other bases that I mentioned up front. Now, if you found this video useful, if you think it has saved you some cash, it's going to help you better manage your money, please do hit that like button, leave me a comment, interact in some way with the video, because it tells YouTube that I'm doing a good job and it shows it to more people, and it really will help me grow this channel. I really appreciate everything you guys do already by following me and watching my channel. It'd be great if I can get even more people involved. My name is Andy Webb. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, cheers. And here are a couple more videos you might find interesting.